Welcome, everybody, to the first ever episode of the Survivor Bros podcast. I'm Brennan. I'm joined with my brother, Tanner Pfeiffer. We are two brothers who love Survivor and love talking about it. So we figured why not share some of our thoughts with you people and let the world know our thoughts on Survivor. So we are going to react to each episode going forward for Survivor 43, and we are also going to have a lot of other content. But for now, this is the first episode. Tanner, how are you doing, and what did you think of this episode of Survivor? This is
I'm
episode
doing
5, by the way.
I'm doing really good. That was a really nice fifth episode of Survivor 43. I think this season is shaping out to be really nice. It's developing slowly, but it's taking its time to let us get to know the characters so that we can enjoy watching them more later on. We're getting some really interesting blind sides. I think tonight's episode culminated with a blind side that was pretty satisfying to watch. And so yeah, I'm really excited to be here talking about it with you. Let's see how this episode was. Let's see how we thought about it.
Definitely satisfying to watch, I gotta say. Seeing the smug look on Gio's face and Ryan's face get wiped off, very
Completely wiped
satisfying.
off.
Classic Survivor blindside. And I think you're right about the season. Developing a little slow. I've enjoyed. I mean, I love Survivor. I enjoy every episode, but I really enjoyed the first few episodes. I think it slowed down a little bit the last couple, but I think, like you said, the table is set. We've got great characters. We know a lot about them. We care a lot about them, and I think we got a lot of big players who are here to play the game and willing to make some big moves. And I think we got some big stuff coming. It looks like next episode is. It looks like Emerge, and
Mm-hmm.
but that
Or
is
a
a little
fake
early.
emerge.
Yeah. What do you think of the possibilities of a fake merge or something along those lines?
So I have not looked into any press or anything. I do not know how this fake merge is going to be similar or different compared to season 41 and 42. I will say that, like most Survivor fans, I was not the biggest fan of what they did that sent Sydney and Lydia home. Of course, Sydney was one of my favorites in season 41. So the way she just got absolutely screwed over was not very satisfying. And I think Danny's reaction was pretty much all of our reaction at that moment. So hopefully this one will be a little bit better. Like you said, this season has had a ton of great characters. So seeing one of them get completely screwed over would be awful. Like Jesse's doing really great right now. Carla's doing really great right now. They could just be gone tomorrow. Who knows? But that's the chaos with Modern Survivor. I really do wish, though, that we could have gotten more tribals with these three tribes because I think that the dynamics right now, especially
A
after
lot
this
of interesting
episode,
dynamics.
could have gotten a lot more interesting. And we'll talk about the tribes that didn't go to tribal, but even at Coco right now, I want to see what Ryan's thinking and how he'll try to work with the people who just blindsided him.
Do you want to talk about let's go right into Coco. So Gio was the fifth person voted off of Survivor. How does Ryan come back from this if he does at all? What do you think about everyone else's role in blindside of Gio and Ryan? And
So
yeah,
in order to understand his perspective, I feel like there's some content that we might be missing here because the Coco tribe was a little bit under edited in the first few episodes. And we saw that Ryan and Gio clicked up right away. And we saw that they were doing that challenge together where they had to dig up the thing out of the sand. And so I think that could have alienated them, but I wonder how they didn't realize that. There must be something that they thought was going on that we never saw in the edit. Like they thought they were really close with Carla. I know
I
Gio
think
thought he
that's
was
it.
close with
I think it's
Carla.
Carla.
Okay, so that
I
I
think
mean,
the
what that
key is
shows, first of
Carla.
all, yeah, Carla is playing the middle and she's doing it flawlessly at this point, and it's really fun to watch. I'm totally rooting for Carla. Carla could go to the end and win with no obstacles, and I would be happy about it.
Definitely one of the big players in Carla. She is seemingly playing a perfect game up to this point strategically. I mean, everybody is going up to her and giving her
Hmm.
information. James and Cassidy, they're the ones in alliance together. obviously Gio and Ryan really thought that she was with them
Mm-hmm.
and they had the numbers. I mean, Gio, he really acted like he knew that exactly what was going on, that he was controlling everything. Like I said, really satisfying to see that look wiped from his face.
Yeah, he opened up the episode by saying that Cassidy was, quote, completely on the outs. And then he was immediately undermined by the end when
Yeah,
Carla was saying that Gio and Ryan are on the outs. So as soon
he
as I
looked
saw
really
that,
bad.
I was like, okay, Gio man, I love you. It's been fun to watch you so far this season, but I think this is as far as you're gonna get, dude. And
Yeah,
this was one of the rare times actually where I was able to predict the boot before Tribal. Usually this season has actually been pretty good so far about surprising me.
yes, definitely. I gotta say, there's been a couple times like the Lindsay vote. I was not expecting that at all. But
Yeah, I was once again
this one,
expecting Gio to go home.
I gotta say, I was expecting it. They tried to do the whole Lindsay part two with Cassidy.
That was very
Oh, she's
interesting.
getting paranoid. I didn't buy that for 1 second. And
Hmm.
if that were the case, we were talking about it earlier. If that was the case, and Carla and James were really gonna vote off Cassidy for questioning the vote, for being a little paranoid, I think that would speak horribly to their game, and I think that that would actually mean that they themselves were the paranoid ones, and
Hmm.
that is not a good way to play the game, I think, at all.
Yeah, and what we've been seeing so far from Carla and James is a lot of level-headedness. James especially has been thinking through every option, trying to calm people down, especially with Lindsay, keep
He's a
things the
chess
way they
player.
are. Yeah, just let the system do its thing, trust the process is what he says, right?
Exactly. Trust the
So
process.
it
Perfect
would
word.
be completely weird for him to just completely shake things up out of nowhere. And as we saw from Ryan tonight, getting a resume is not everything that Survivor is about. It's a social game. It's about getting a group that you can really trust, which I think Cassidy, Carla, and James have really cemented themselves as an alliance now. I agree with you that Cassidy's paranoia was really just an editing trick to make it seem like she might be getting the
Yeah.
Lindsay treatment. I
Mm.
think those three are solid right now, and they could move forward. And they could totally steamroll, and I honestly wouldn't be upset about it.
They could definitely, and now especially since they're not the big six-person tribe anymore. They're not the big bads
Mhm.
that the other two are going to try and team up to take down. They're not Mecha Godzilla, but they're so they have four people, um, and with that three-person alliance, yeah, like you said, I agree with you. I think that could be a really big powerhouse. I mean, we've got Carla, one of the biggest players of the season so far. Been narrated half the season. Strategic
Cassidy, who had a
mastermind.
huge breakout
Cassidy,
episode.
breakout episode tonight.
Yeah.
Great episode for
Breakout to
Cassidy.
the
Big
max
fan.
episode.
I'm a huge fan of Cassidy. I think she'll do really well. Um, I think she said she wanted to play a game like Andrea from Kara Moen, and I'm getting some of those vibes from her. Really am.
Oh yeah, I really am for sure.
Um,
I'm surprised people haven't called her the new Parvati yet. But maybe that's why
I
my
mean,
energy was so intent on getting her out. I don't know.
I think the new Parvati means you're gonna get voted out. Like
You're gonna
three
get targeted
votes.
because you're a cute girl who smiles at someone. You get voted
Yeah,
out
I
second.
mean, God forbid you're an attractive female who's young,
Yeah,
and not completely dumb.
but that's another reason why it's nice to see Cassidy doing well and getting more screen time. She was pretty under-edited
Definitely.
early on, but
Yeah,
she
she was
definitely had to
under the
use her
radar,
now.
but I mean that spoke to her game a little bit. I mean, she said that she wanted to play a little under the radar until it was time to make some big moves.
Hmm.
And I don't know if this was necessarily a big move, but she's starting to come out from the shadows a little bit, and it's great to
Yeah.
see.
And we saw in Gio's end that trying to take the reins right away just does not work out. You always
Oh
want to be the
yeah,
person
never
that's
want to
kind
do
of
that.
under the initial leader, the initial dictator, and then you get to chop their head off and take their place.
See, and the thing is, you would think so. After saying that, you would think, oh well, Carla's the big dictator. They're gonna get her out, right? Well,
See,
I don't
honestly,
know. I don't know if they see it that way out there.
I
Because
don't either, but now after this episode, I am starting to wonder if Ryan might be catching up to Carla. I don't think James and Cassidy are worried about Carla right now. I think she's done a really good job of keeping her fans mostly blood free. But now Ryan has been for real scorned by her. He just lost his closest ally. So
yeah,
he's
and
got to be thinking this girl's doing a lot of stuff. And if she's really in that powerful
mhm,
position, maybe he's just going to try to take her out of the merge.
yeah, and especially now that he's on the outs, I mean, he's got to try and do something. If they, well, I
Yeah, I
guess
mean, that's
they're
Flip
not going to
City
try,
right
but
there.
yeah, he could definitely go with Vesey, or I mean, I really want to see how the tribes break off.
Hmm.
Um, where
Yeah, so
Owen
we have.
goes, Ellie and Janine.
It's funny because now we have five Bakas and four Vesties and four Cocos. Even though Baka was the first to lose, now they have the
Yeah,
majority. And I really did not see that coming at all. I thought for sure they would see at least one, if not two or three more titles before the merge.
yeah. I really wanted to see tribal with them. I wanted to see where Owen went. I wanted to see Gabler's idol, but I guess now we'll have
So
to.
Gabler now he's playing his idol at the merge, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Man, I thinking about it now though. I think a guy like Ryan might be an easy merge
Do you
vote.
think Gabler could play his idol on someone else? I
Wow.
think that's definitely
I
a
mean, that's a.
possibility.
It certainly is a possibility. I could definitely see him doing that.
Yeah.
That's a great point. I never
Especially
thought about that.
if they split it up and then he's in the winning group and he's immune anyway and he has to use the idol. Because obviously I'm assuming he has to use it anyway, even if he's immune. He'll just use it on someone else, like Sammy or Owen.
Does that count as his tribal council though? If he's in
I'm
the
not
immune
sure.
group?
I'm really not 100% sure.
Yeah. See, this is it's one of those things where I mean
Yeah, I
it's
mean we'll have to
depends.
see.
Um.
But yeah, I definitely love to see him shock people with that because God, the girls on that tribe are really underestimating him. And I did not
Yeah.
expect that from Ellie. I expected Ellie to be a lot more aware of his threat level and the fact that he was here to play the game.
Ellie is definitely kind of getting a villain edit. I mean, she's
Oh
really
yeah. She literally
she
said,
like
I feel
like you
so
said,
evil right
underestimating.
now.
Yeah, she's it's like they're like laughing at Gabler, but really the audience is kind of laughing at her because we know that Gabler is going to use his idol, and he's not dumb, and he knows, and we know that Sammy is going and telling Gabler everything that oh yeah, you just gave Janine an idol. She tricked you.
A
And
fake idol? No, a real
yeah.
idol.
Oh really? Yeah. We just gave her a fake idol? Like,
That was good.
and that
Yeah, it
speaks
sucks. I feel bad for Ellie because I really loved her in the premiere. She was like the star of the premiere, and I love the story about her brother.
yeah,
I think that was something that a lot of
that moved me for
audience members
sure.
would resonate. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Ellie is someone who I really want to do well. I genuinely want her to do well. I think she's strategic. I think she's social. I mean, I
Yeah.
think I don't think she necessarily messed up socially on the tribe. I just think that she got a little too overconfident. So now
Yeah,
with that
definitely
reality check at the
overconfidence.
merge, I think she has the chance to kind of reorient herself and say, okay, maybe I wasn't playing perfectly, but now here's a new slew of allies I can have, and maybe I can get something going here.
Definitely see something like a Janine blindside where she has to like reset and say, okay, I'm not as in
Janine,
charge as
who
I
doesn't
thought I
have a
was.
vote.
Exactly. Janine, who does not have a vote. After finding the Beware advantage, which was covered in ants, by the way. I don't know if you noticed
Yes,
that.
I
I
noticed
was like,
that.
oh man, like I don't know if it's worth pulling out this
At least it
Beware
wasn't
just with the
spiders.
yeah. Good thing Justine wasn't there. We're covered in spiders. Um, definitely one of those things of Survivor that you don't really think about
Hmm.
when we're sitting on the couch like us talking about the game. You don't realize that they're actually out in the wilderness.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just like even when they show those little clips like before Tribal and they show like the spider walking over the voting booth and stuff, I think that's so cool. That's one of my
Oh
favorite things
yeah.
about Survivor for sure. Just
Definitely.
seeing the reality of it and how cinematic of an experience it is compared to other shows like Big Brother. They really go all out with the atmosphere, the music, the setting.
This yeah, it's the storytelling. It's like a movie in
Yeah,
a lot of ways.
it really, really is.
Yeah. And I love it for that. And Once Upon an Island talks about that a lot, breaks it down and the storytelling aspect of it. And he's really great at that. Um,
Yeah. And speaking of storytelling, the editing this season has been really good. It's been so balanced. I mean, I feel like every season there's someone who's purple, but this season we don't really have a purple edit. I don't
yeah,
think so.
I wouldn't say so.
Cassidy before today was the most under-edited person, and she was the star of tonight's episode. So we definitely know who she is. And it's nice because I always feel so bad for those people who get the invisible edits when they're super fans of the game and they came out here to play and they came out to have their story be told because this is a once in a lifetime thing for
Definitely.
them. And they go on and then they don't see themselves hardly at all. So it's nice to have this cast be a little bit more appreciated by production.
Definitely giving everybody a lot of love. It's great to see. I'm not sure if everybody has had one of those flashbacks from home, but definitely been a lot of them, and those have been a welcome addition in my eyes. I really like those.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think they might have gone a little bit overboard.
Just a
I
little,
think
just a
yeah,
little bit.
like the second time when Noelle was talking about her leg, I could tell that production was kind of forcing that a little bit. I don't think Noelle even
Yeah.
wanted to be talking about that. And
Yeah, I
speaking of
mean,
Noelle, she's been completely beasting these challenges. So her leg really
yeah,
should not be her main story. I mean, it's honestly really nice to watch her be so successful and the way she's overcome such a big challenge in life. But she's just a beast. She is awesome. I
she's a
am
beast.
loving watching her. I think she also has a good head on her shoulders strategically. So with the steal a vote now on a four-person tribe, I mean, now we're merging, but God, I wish we could
Now
have
to
seen that
merge.
four-person.
I really wanted
Uh,
to see that. Especially,
uh,
okay, are we going to talk about Jesse? Why did Jesse risk his vote? I mean, I
See,
want to
as a
set an
super
example for
fan, I
my kids.
understand because he wants to set an example. And yeah, he came here to play. He said it's $1 million game. He's gonna risk it pretty much no matter what. And I guess maybe I would have done the same thing, but Jesse was just in
In a
such a unique
four-person
position on that
tribe?
tribe on a four-person. Yeah, I mean, and the fact that Gio was being so vocal about the fact that he was also gonna risk it should have been enough of a red flag. Like, I'm probably
Exactly.
gonna lose my vote. So at that point, it's at least like
Exactly.
a 50% chance you're going to lose your vote.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I understand that he's a good player. He's a smart player. He wants to make big moves. I think big moves aren't always the best option. Sometimes playing it safe is the best thing to do. But we'll see how it goes. He could very well have no problem from this, but it could also completely cost him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping he's just in such a good spot socially that it doesn't really
Hmm.
have an effect. But definitely, it would be painful to see this come back and bite him for sure.
Yeah, and we even saw him being good socially on the journey. The way he was interacting with
Definitely, he was
Gio
making
and
people laugh.
Janine. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was like, I feel like I invited you guys to a really bad party. that.
So,
But how about the journey this episode? What do you think of the boat? I really liked the little rinky-dink boat and how they had to row out there to the sand spit. I like the cinematography during that section. They had some really cool shots of them paddling out there.
yeah, I thought it was really funny. I think it was Jesse when they're on the speedboat going past it. He's like, "Yeah, we're coming up. We see the three bags, but then we keep going, and we see
Yeah.
the and we see this Ricky Dink little boat."
Yeah.
That was really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice little journey.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the whole, I don't know what we're calling it, but Chip Wheel Island thing.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, when they announced that they would be sending people to take a journey this episode, I was kind of like, "Oh, great, here we go
yeah,
again."
I think it's just
But
like
then,
wasted screen time
but then when
almost.
Jesse had that confessional saying we go past it, I was like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of piquing my interest a little bit more." So that was a nice way to shake things up a little bit without actually changing the format like at all.
Yeah, definitely. It's been nice to see like how they're changing up the journeys. It
Hmm.
def- it makes it easier to lie about it. like back at camp.
But now what we're seeing, I feel like, is people are being so honest about the journeys
Yeah,
compared to how they were in 41 and 42, where people were kind of dodging questions a little bit, saying, "Oh, I did this instead of that." Now we have people straight up opening their little packages in front of everyone at camp. Except for I thought it was a little bit weird for Janine to open it herself and then go back to camp and pretend that she hadn't opened it. Why do you think she did that?
I have no idea. I think maybe. Oh, okay, okay. I have an idea. I think if she won it and she had her vote, right? If she had the knowledge is power, she would just say she didn't risk her vote. If then because she still had her vote
Okay.
and no one would suspect anything. But then
Okay.
since she lost her vote, she has to come clean because they'll know.
Uh-huh. Okay, yeah, that makes sense actually. It was just worrying me a little bit how she had to lie in front of everyone.
Yeah, I mean that's never the you never really want to lie more than you have to.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
exactly. Exactly.
what do you think about her risking it in the first place? I think like Jesse, I don't get it. I mean, I understand it
Yeah,
a
I
little bit
think
more because it's a 5 person and you're not completely sure you have the numbers on with you and Ellie, but they seem like they're pretty sure that Gabler's not playing and they do have the numbers. So I'm not sure why she would risk it there.
well, if she Ellie seems to trust Sammy. And if Ellie trusts Sammy, then I guess Janine trusts Sammy, right? So if she thinks that it's 4v1, then I guess she doesn't think that her vote really matters. And I definitely understand it a little bit more than Jesse, who, like we said, is on a 4-person tribe. But yeah, Janina's here to play. Like Jesse said, she's got scars on her chin already. Don't tell me
Yeah.
about that. Twitter
Yeah.
must have gone crazy about that. Her chin is like the biggest meme of the season so far.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, I actually came away from this episode liking Janine more. I think she's
Janine
definitely
had
a
a good episode.
player. And for all we know, she could be the one trying to pull a blindside on Ellie in the next episode. Who knows?
Really, you think that?
I don't know. I just think she's here to play.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, the table is set. We've got players. I think we're ready for some fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
This merge
Yep.
coming up.
And what I like about this season compared to others is that, everybody's here to play, but not everybody's just kind of a game bot who knows exactly what they want to do. There are people who are
Exactly.
changing things, who are getting emotional like NECA did and like almost faltering her strategy because of that. We have people making blunders like Gio and Lindsay. We have a pretty well-rounded experience where it's not just us as the viewers trying to keep up with all this crazy heady strategy that's going on. There's moments
Definitely.
where we can just laugh at people.
Yeah. And that's we were talking about it earlier. It seems more of almost an old school season. It's definitely a
Hmm.
lot more old school than the last two seasons were,
Oh
which I
yeah.
just thought were that was just too far in my opinion. Like we've taken
Hmm.
things a little bit too far
Yeah,
here.
with just all the advantages, so much that you couldn't keep up with who had what. You had
Yeah.
no idea what was going to happen at tribal pretty much every time.
I mean, when you literally can't remember how many advantages, who has what, it gets to the point where it's
Yeah,
distracting and it hinders the experience. So I'm glad we're
yeah.
going more to a character focused, socially based
And
experience.
honestly, at this point, moving forward, I think we still have not quite as many, but a few too many advantages. I would like to see them either get rid of the journey or the idols at camp, but I do want to see the beads twist again because I think that the beads twist is a really fun way of doing the idol thing, especially compared to the phrases, which were kind of those were fun and wacky to watch. People say those ridiculous things, but over and over again, it just got tiring, and then it became so obvious that obviously now the players would know what was going on. And I think the bead twist is something that tests your social skills so much. I mean, we saw it today with Janine trying to get Gabler speed. When he said that he was saving that for his daughter, I was like, oh no, it's over.
Yeah,
Just like
you
Ellie
see
was.
Ellie go,
Yeah. Those big eyes, you know.
yeah. I
And
really
Janine
love
stayed
the
calm,
beat.
and she handled that really well. That's another reason why I'm really high on Janine after this episode because she performed better than I think I would have performed in that situation.
Hey, don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I really enjoy the beats. Like you said, a lot better than the phrases, which
Hmm.
got to me after the first time. Um,
Yeah, it was
and
nice to give Xander that little butterfly thing, but after that,
yeah, and part of it is, I mean, players are just they're too smart for the game now. So like
hmm.
with if the phrases came back, everyone would know as soon as someone is saying something like bunny, rabbit, mailbox. What like that? What is it? That has nothing to do with Survivor. It's nothing to do with the ones we're playing. You obviously like you're trying to get an idol or something,
Uh-huh. And
but
see, now I
nobody's seen the
wonder.
beads thing. And but you see, if they did the beads thing again, maybe
Hmm.
next season they could do it because I don't know the filming. But after that, they probably couldn't do it again, or they'd have to change it up in some way to
Hmm.
keep the players guessing or so they don't know exactly what's going on all the time.
Yeah, I wonder how the player's mindset is going to be in future seasons, where you might just not want to give away anything. If anyone ever asks for anything, you just say no because you know it could be
Exactly.
part of a twist.
I mean, really, I mean, you're not wrong. Everything that Survivor gives you could be part of the game now.
Hmm.
I mean,
That's gonna
hell,
add a whole nother layer of paranoia into the game.
what if they say like collect all of 5 canteens or something? Like,
Oh, that would be brutal.
yeah. I
Bury
mean,
your
you could
tribe's
never.
machete for a day, and then you get a steal of vote or something.
That would be. Oh, jeez. Russell must have came up with that.
Yeah. Uh, Actually, that would be a pretty fun way to bring some social chaos back into the game by forcing players to make moves that would make them into these pariahs, like Russell, but you force them to do it
See,
in order to get an advantage. That would be
that's
interesting.
definitely. Obviously, that would be great. But the thing is, I feel like you can't have game mechanics that are trying to force players to do things. You have to let it become naturally. Like you just
Yeah, I
have to
mean,
let the social setting take place,
I
and you'll
think.
have Russells and you'll have these things like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's just a casting thing where I think they've been leaning. I mean, they've obviously been leaning more into casting super fans, which has caused them to lean less to casting villains.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah, there
yeah,
hasn't been really any great villains recently.
because when
I
people
mean,
are a
who was
super
the
fan of
last?
the show, they just want to go on and they want to win. They want to have the best game. They don't want to just go in there and like
They
argue
want
with
to.
people and stuff.
They want to play again, and they want to be part of the the community. Honestly,
Yeah.
which I mean, I can't fault them for. I'd probably
Hmm.
do the same thing, but
Well, of course, everyone wants to be brought back.
really, who was the last great villain? I mean, I feel like we haven't had one in a really long time. I mean, Victoria, maybe the last villain that we really real villain.
Even she, I mean, wasn't very villainous, and she was
Yeah,
super under-edited in the season. I mean, she's one of my favorite players
yeah,
ever. Obviously, you know that.
hmm
I mean, on Edge of Extinction, I guess War Dog was kind of a villain.
yeah. See, but
Um,
even he
and then let
really,
me see, 39. I want to say well, Dan, but that's a whole different
that
thing.
that's different.
I
That's
guess Dean was kind of a villain. Missy, they made her
I
into a villain kind of artificially. She was just a game bot who was trying really, really hard, but they kind of edited her into a villain.
I feel like everybody like liked Dean though, right? He was I mean, he was DK chilling. You know, he was just
Yeah,
like I didn't know you were chill like that.
but he did say something about like turning into DK villain at the end, but I don't think the cast as much took him
Yeah,
seriously.
I think I mean more of a villain like the cat, like everyone else sees you as a villain, doesn't really like you almost.
I mean, as far as not liking people, is there anyone in 41 and 42 who was like that?
Not that I remember. I mean, I try to forget most of 41. So,
I don't blame you for
um,
that at all.
I can't think of anyone on 42
I mean,
really.
I want to say that Ricard was the villain of 41, but again, he was just strategic. He was not like being mean
Yeah,
to
he was just a
people.
threat. He was just a threat. That was it.
Yeah. And then I mean, as I guess people were like hating on Xander, but it was never personal, I don't think, really. I mean,
Yeah.
Liana said she hated his face, but that was it. And
Oh
then
man.
42, I guess Jonathan became kind of a villain towards the end, but for the first half of the season, he was a total hero,
All
I
that, yeah,
thought.
all that stuff kind of seemed minor,
Yeah.
and it kind of speaks to what I've been saying. Like we haven't really had like a great, like thorough Survivor villain in a while.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we missed the days of David versus Goliath, Natalie.
That's so great.
Yeah,
I
we
was
need.
just
She would be a great villain. She should come back.
I
We need
would love
someone
to
like
see
her.
Natalie come back.
That's what we
I
need is
would,
people who are just not afraid to say absolutely anything.
yeah. Is a jacket worth $1 million for you?
Exactly.
I was just asking a question. That's it. That's all. Oh, that's so great. Survivor really, I think it really could use that. I mean, those characters are just so fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's so
hmm
great.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't watch Survivor for like the petty drama like I would watch on Big Brother with people just being absolutely crazy and yelling at each other all the time. But I do like to see at least a little bit of it, like a little pinch of it in
Yeah, you
Survivor.
like to see a little pettiness here and there, a little bit
Yeah.
there, because I mean that's what it's like. I mean, when you're living
I
with
mean,
people like
everybody likes
that,
Survivor
especially in those
Gabon, right?
conditions. Exactly. Yeah. Everybody loves just a little bit of chaos.
Yeah.
Can't be perfect. I mean, it doesn't have to be like Thailand or Worlds Apart or anything like that.
Oh
We
yeah,
can have,
we don't need horribleness,
yeah, or
just
all stuff.
drama.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
So
this cast, I really like these characters so far. I think the show did a good job of adding extra time to the first few episodes in order to flesh out their stories even more. So we really know who these people are. Like, I mean, if you really think about it, like compared to past seasons, there would be people who going into the final five, we know about as much about them as we do about the people who are left in the game right now. Only 5 episodes in. And that's pretty good.
yeah, definitely, definitely. A lot of character development
hmm
so far. And
Yeah.
I'll keep saying it. The table is set. We really, I
Exactly.
mean, we've got all the pieces there, and I really do think that this season is we're headed for something great. I really think it's gonna come into its
hmm
own, and that we're gonna get some really great TV here from Survivor.
Exactly.
So, do you want to talk a little bit about maybe some power rankings or how it maybe
Who do you think
talk
is
about
going
how
to win?
Jesse
I mean, if
plays?
you had to pick one person to win right now, who do you think is going to win?
I would say Jesse would be my pick to win. I mean, it seems like he's been the main character so far. He's in such a great spot. He seems so social. He's really smart, really knows the game. He really seems like he has all the tools to win, and he's been playing
Yeah,
well so far. And the edit is showing it. So that's just what I gotta go with so far. What about you?
yeah. I mean, if I was out there, I would be playing with Jesse too. So I could definitely see Jesse making it all the way to the end based off his social relationships. He doesn't have too much blood on his hand, but he's obviously strategic. He's making moves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have, besides Jesse, I would say Carla is my
Carla
pick.
definitely looks
Yeah.
really
But
good
part of
so
me is
far.
worried that Carla kind of looks too good to be true as a winner right now. She could be like the robbed goddess situation at the end.
Definitely, yeah. A lot. There's been a lot of people who've peaked too early. Certainly.
hmm Yeah. And
Um,
I'm speaking of peak too early. I mean, so far I think Ellie kind of peaked in the first episode, but that definitely gives her room to have another peak later on.
exactly. She
So
started here. She went down. She could. She has room to go up here for
yeah,
sure.
an Ellie resurgence is definitely possible. We never know.
Definitely. I mean,
What
it's.
about Gabler? Where do you think Gabler is going to place? He is such a
I.
mystery to me. I mean, ever since the preseason, I've just had no idea of how he was going to do.
I don't really see it honestly. I just don't. I mean, he has his idol now, but when that's done, I don't really see him going too far. I just don't think he has the social. I mean, really. I mean, the only person who he's really close with is Sammy, and
hmm
even Sammy is. I mean, he's like I don't know if you saw the secret scene. Um,
I didn't.
It was Sammy and Gabler going fishing together.
Oh, it was. That's cool.
Yeah. So basically, Sammy says something along the lines of, "How did I get myself in the situation where it's just me and Gabler out here by ourselves?" So I really don't think he's got the
His
social
social
ability.
graces.
Yeah. I,
Okay.
I just don't, or the strategic prowess, really. I don't see him going too far
But
at
Sammy,
all.
though, Sammy has been my
Sammy,
biggest surprise of the season so
we
far
were
with how
talking
much I
about it
love him,
earlier,
how much I
by
really think
far.
he has so much potential to go far, and he really could win.
He's been
He
so
would be the first
entertaining.
19-year-old winner, right?
And yeah, I mean, it's so easy to say coming into the season. I just thought, oh, he's a 19-year-old. He's not. He won't be
And
able to
even in
do it.
in the premiere, he was saying things that a typical young person might say.
Yeah, I mean, he does all those young person things. I mean, he celebrates the way a young person would. And so you hear him say, "I didn't even go to Chuck E. Cheese that much."
That was classic. I was
That's
laughing at
so
it.
great. He is so funny. He's
Yeah.
so
And I feel like he
entertaining.
was hitting the gritty at the last
Yeah,
challenge.
yep. So
Yeah.
great. And he's really serious about the game. Like he's giving his confessional. He's just like he's talking. He's like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, I love that he has like that kind of mob
yeah,
boss mentality.
hmm
He's like, this 19-year-old's about to put y'all in y'all place.
exactly. I mean, he like I said earlier, he hasn't given me anything to show me that he can't win. I mean, he's
Mm.
looking really great so far.
Yeah, and it sucks because he's not on my draft team, but I could totally see him winning.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't pick him was because he goes to UNLV. That's it. They're our rivals.
Wow,
I go to
of
UNL for all the
course.
listeners, Nevada. So one part of me really loves Sammy and wants to root for him. The other me hates his guts. So
I feel you on that. What about predictions for the next boot? Who do you think is going to be the merge casualty here?
man, if Ryan isn't immune, I think he could definitely go really easily. I mean,
Mhm.
he's such a threat. He's on the outs already. He doesn't have anybody. I don't
Part
think
of
he's.
me thinks that he could just be seen as almost a goat now because he really did mess up his resume. Like I said earlier, he was trying to get some ink on his resume. He spilled the bottle of ink and he got it off his
Yep,
resume.
ruined the
It's
resume for good.
it's a mess now. He's got a lot of cleaning up to do. I think there's definitely potential for him.
I mean, he could. The thing is, he could go on a run and win immunities. I think
Yeah, I
that's
mean
his only
he's strong.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Exactly. He was. I we forget. I mean, he hasn't looked great in the last couple immunity challenges, but early on, he looked really like a really solid carrier of the challenges of the tribe.
Okay, wait. Do you think that he threw this challenge for real?
That is the question of the week.
It
Um,
really is.
See, the thing is, it makes no sense to throw the challenge there. It absolutely none at all. It's so beyond risky for no gain really. I mean, so you want to get somebody out. You want to get Cassidy out.
Hmm.
Okay, is that really worth going to tribal for? Is that really
Yeah.
worth? I mean, like
I mean,
you're
Giovanni
also
didn't
playing for
even
the
throw to get rid of
too.
Natalie.
I know. I mean, who somebody must have to piss you off a whole hell of a lot for you to want to throw a challenge, throw
Yeah.
immunity away, and a tarp away just so you
Tarp
can
was
get
just a
them out.
huge reward for the season.
But then that would put you at a four-person tribe too, and they don't know
Hmm.
they're gonna merge.
Especially
So
in New School
what if you lose
Survivor,
again? I mean,
when
that's a
you never know what's going to
25%
happen.
chance. Yeah, I mean that is just. But so there's you have that, but then so why why would he throw it in the direction of the other balls and so hard? I mean, it really looked like he threw it hard, so he wanted to hit the other balls off.
Yeah, they were telling him to aim for the right, and it seemed like he was aiming for the left. So that's the one part about
Yeah,
it
I
that
mean, you
makes me
threw it
think
right at him.
he's telling the truth here. But at the same
So,
time, I'm just not sure. I'm really
yeah,
just not sure.
so it genuinely looked like he did throw it, but it just makes absolutely zero sense for him to throw it.
Hmm. I mean, maybe there's something that the edit is just completely glossing over with Cassidy. Maybe Cassidy wins and the edit's trying to protect her because of that. I honestly wouldn't be surprised. She got a huge breakout episode today. I could totally see Cassidy as a winner pick after this.
Yeah, we were talking about earlier her breakout episode. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
big fan. I definitely could see it. Um, and you were talking about earlier, she didn't get the screen time as much before, but look at the last couple winners, right?
Yeah, I mean, Erica, I think she has more than Erica had at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Erica didn't get anything until the merge, really.
Mm-hmm.
I hardly even knew who she was, so.
Yeah.
Man.
And it was weird because her relationship with Heather was so integral to the way that the latter half of the game played out. And
Yeah,
yet it was like the only relationship that they didn't show from that camp. It was
it was
so weird.
wild.
Like they were showing us Sydney and Deshaun and Danny, all that, but not no Heather and Erica.
Yeah, we got plenty of that, but not the winner. I mean,
so weird.
It's like they really wanted her to have this big breakout episode with the hourglass twist.
Oh, I mean, the hourglass.
We don't need to get into that because I could talk about how horrible that of a twist that is all day. So
hopefully there's no smashing in the next episode of Survivor 43.
Yeah. But yeah, I really like Cassidy. I think she's coming into her own. We were talking about the big three earlier. That could be a really big powerhouse, and she could be an integral part of that. That could be the final three for all we know.
Yeah. So you want to just talk about everyone who's left and see how You want to just talk about everyone who's left and see how they might be doing for the rest of the season? That's sort of a power rankings type thing.
So we talked about Carla earlier and Jesse. Really, they're the front runners in my eyes. They've really been the dominating personalities. But Cassidy's another one I think who I could definitely see winning. She has all the pieces. I mean,
what about James?
James, he's another one of those. He hasn't gotten the screen time yet, but we could see a breakout for him coming soon. He's really been under the radar,
and he's under the radar, but he isn't there.
He's under the radar, but I mean, it's just Carla. I mean, Carla's getting the screen time for them. They're making decisions together, but she's getting we're listening to her reasons behind it.
And that could very well be a Shannon Ricard type of situation where I remember Ricard talking about after the season, he was pretty upset as the season was airing because he felt that he had been the one to make all these strategic moves, and then he was watching the episode as it aired, and it was just Shan's perspective on everything. But then she went home, and then he immediately became the front runner, and he was like the main character of the season at that point. And he was like, okay, I see it. I see what they were doing with the arc of the season here. So that could definitely be a thing. And I guess
that could point to a Carla getting
I was about to say, that leads me to be a little bit worried about Carla. I mean, Rod's Giannis, who knows?
I mean, it's just so tough when you have these people who are getting so much screen time. It's really not sustainable usually.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's outliers, but not everyone can be Russell Hantz. So
yeah, exactly. What about Ellie too? Because Ellie is someone who
another one who got a lot of screen time.
Yeah, her edit has tapered down in the last few episodes, but she was really the focal point of the first episode. I think, like, she was the focal point of the first episode.
I think she had the most confessionals by a few actually. I mean, maybe Cody was close, and obviously Jesse's up there. But yeah, she was getting a lot of screen time, but I think her edit is really not looking that great for a winner, just because she's getting such a villainous story. I mean,
yeah, her edit is a little bit all over the place right now.
Yeah,
because she started off as the one that we were identifying with on that tribe and the one that we were rooting for, but now it's shifted to, I think Sammy is the one that we as the audience are supposed to identify with right now, and Janine too a little bit.
Yeah, Janine had a great episode too. A little iffy on the whole risking your vote thing, but
yeah. What do you think her chances of actually winning are, though?
I don't know. I think she can contend. I mean, it depends on her relationship with Ellie and how far that goes, and we'll have to see obviously how the whole merge plays out, where Owen goes. and it'll really be interesting to see how the other tribes how they interact with each other. I mean, we could see them getting together with like Noel and Dwight, and then
Oh
them
yeah, for
have a
sure. And
steal a vote.
Ryan, he'll be looking to
Yeah,
flip probably.
he's looking to flip for sure. I mean,
Hmm.
to 1 versus 3 over there. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see who they all align with and how that plays out. But that would definitely be interesting to see if I mean really I think Noel and Dwight, and then you have Janine and Ellie that maybe
Hmm.
Owen. That would be a pretty powerful alliance right there.
Hmm. Yeah, we'll see if they're able to establish a new majority there. But as things stand right now, I am a little bit worried for Janine because she is really close with Ellie, but as we've seen from Ellie, she's kind of fallen from grace. And Janine, she called Owen a nervous player, and she doesn't seem to be connecting with Gabler at all. I think she said that he wasn't playing. And then Sammy, we saw Ellie as the connecting force between Sammy and Janine. So I'm not sure if Sammy and Janine really have any working relationship.
I
And that
haven't seen
means,
anything between them
yeah.
really.
So they could just decide to go for Janine instead of Ellie, even though Ellie has a bit more blood on her hands right now. They could say, Janine doesn't have a vote, but she's obviously willing to risk her vote, which proves that she's a player, and that's someone that we want to target before they can blindside us.
It's just the idol. That's just what is going to
Hmm.
worry people.
Yeah, but they could want to flush it too.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
Hmm.
They'd have to blindside her, and you never know. Depending on who's giving the information, it could come back to
Hmm.
her. But they could try and target like Ellie.
Yeah, I think it's very possible that we could actually see a split between Ellie and Janine, and whichever one of those doesn't go home here actually gets a much better foothold in the game going forward, and they could actually become a real threat to win at that point because people won't be looking to get rid of them after they've just lost their biggest ally.
That's a great point. And I was saying earlier, I was actually saying that this could be a wake up point for Ellie, who really
Oh
thinks
yeah,
that
for
she's in
sure.
control. Let's say Janine gets blindsided with an idol in her pocket. I mean,
Oh,
that's a
that
wake
would
up
wake
call if
Ellie
I've
up for
ever heard of
sure.
one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, and that could be the jump start you need. So
Exactly.
you definitely could see a lot of things change here
What
with the
about
merge.
Owen, who we saw walk up on Janine and
Walk up.
Ellie?
He
Oof,
has
that was awkward. That was so awkward.
he very awkward. He has gotten quite a few actually of those. Little awkward.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know because obviously preseason a lot of people were hyping up Owen and including me, and I thought he was really a contender.
Hmm.
Still think he's a contender for sure. I mean, pretty much everyone is in my eyes, pretty much.
Yeah, there's no one who's
But
absolutely out of it at this point, as far as I'm concerned.
I think Gabler's a little out of it. Yeah,
See,
I don't know.
but Gabler, at least,
I think
we've been
Ryan
getting
might be a little out of
confessionals.
it.
Even though he's not necessarily in the loop as things happen, we see from his confessionals that
See,
he is like at least finding out about things. So he could have a total turnaround later on. He could just be like, I'm sick of this. I'm gonna take things into my own hands.
the thing is, I feel like the edit just laughs at him too much, and things like
Yeah.
he can't be that. So I mean, the palm front thing.
Oh, that was bad. Yeah.
Don't worry, it doesn't have ants on it, Tanner.
It's
That
like, did
is,
it help at all? She's just like, no.
yeah. It's like the type of socially inept stuff.
Hmm.
That's I just can't see how you could be doing that and be able to win the game. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I think if there's anyone who has the least chance of winning right now, it's Gabler for sure. But I don't count him out. I mean, we'll see.
That goes for Ryan too, in my opinion. I think the edits just laughed at him a little too much, and obviously he's not in a good position right now. He's just physical threat. He doesn't seem to be a strategic mastermind. So I think he's. I think I can rule him out in my mind.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with you. I'd have to think about that a little bit more. Because Ryan's definitely he's a strong player physically, but strategically, we really haven't seen anything from him because he thought that he was in a
Yeah,
good
he thought he
position
was
and he
running
just
things with
wasn't.
Geo when he was
So,
exactly.
hmm
That's not a good sign.
hmm
But
But I mean,
he
I
has
always
had
like
his
to think that
moments.
there's possibility for someone since these people are all fans of
Yeah,
the game.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, and he's obviously he's here to play. You know, he was talking about getting things on his resume, albeit a little early, but you know, he's thinking about things. He's not completely inept, so
Yeah,
you
but
never
I
know.
think I think he could just end up being one of those players who's always trying to do something, and the cast just never lets them do anything.
Yeah, maybe never in a position to actually do anything.
Like a
When you
Xander
say
type
that,
situation almost.
it reminds me of Will from Millennials vs. Gen X.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Always
I
just
was
wanting to
yeah.
make a move. Nobody's listening to him because he's 19. I mean, and good on Sammy for saying he's 22. I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but
Yeah, I mean he's so Gen Z.
yeah, it is still a little harder to take someone seriously when they're that
hmm
young.
But
But
Sammy has been doing a good
he's
job so
been
far
he's
at
been doing
integrating
great.
himself.
Yeah, one of my favorite characters for sure.
Yeah, me too. We talked about Owen, Janine, Ellie, talked about Sammy, Gabler. I mean, we pretty much said he's out. I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to underestimate him too much. I think.
You never know. It's right. You really never
Yeah,
know. It's Survivor.
and like we could very well see people that from the other tribes that want to use him as a number, and then he turns around and uses them because they think, oh, he's just some Midwestern guy who's not gonna play strategically. But I mean, I
Yeah, and we've
from
seen.
his confessionals that we've seen so far, even though he has not been super involved in the actual strategy that's been going down, he is having the intention of having a strategic game, and that's what matters.
I mean, yeah, he definitely obviously he has the idol, but and we have gotten the edit thing where like Ellie and Janine doesn't think he even knows about the idol, or they don't think he's playing at all. And then we
See,
get his
I felt that.
confessional saying, "Yeah, I know what's
Yeah,
going on.
exactly.
I'm not as
hmm
stupid as you think," you know. So that's a
Exactly,
good sign.
exactly. That's the
So
one thing about Gilbert. Like that, pretty much anything that's happened between him, Ellie, and Janine, I feel like he's come out looking better than them in most of those instances.
I
With
would agree with
the,
that, maybe.
um, I mean, with the looking through the bag, that was pretty bad for them.
Yeah.
But also, I want to talk about Owen because he was there when they looked through the bag, and he was there when Sammy
he
ratted to Gabler about it. So that is
he
proof
got
that
off
Owen
scot
does.
free.
Yeah.
He really is, and he's been in the middle from what we've been shown. It seems like Sammy and Gabler are
hmm
together, and then it's Ellie and Janine, and you got Owen.
And we
And
did get the slightest hint from Janine in this episode that she said Owen was a nervous player and she wasn't sure about working with him. But I think after he gave
yeah,
her the bead, that was really good of solidifying
that
trust
was a good
move.
way to yeah, like
Yeah.
you said, solidify trust, definitely for sure.
Because I
And
mean,
it's
he
like
could have just blindsided them right there, and honestly, I wouldn't have been mad at him for it. Because
I don't know
I
if
mean,
you can do
I
it. You can't do it that early. I mean, because then Sammy and Gabler and one of them is still going to be left in the game, so they know that like you're kind of like a player and you're like willing to do things the hard way, you know,
hmm
like a villain type of thing.
that would be a huge villainous move.
Oh
I kind
yeah,
of wish I
that
would
would
have
be
seen
one of.
Owen do that.
Oh, that would have been great. Yeah,
Owen's definitely been playing pretty safe so far, I think. That would have been
Def-
a good
which definitely
opportunity
I
to
would
totally
agree
shake
with
things up.
early. It's too early for that, in my opinion. I think you got to lay low early.
Yeah, I mean, but what if he had been the vote now that she got the idol? What if they decided to vote him out? What if they had lost that challenge today? If Ryan hadn't thrown it, or supposedly thrown it, Owen could
Why
have
would
totally
they?
gone home.
Why would they do that though?
Why would they get rid of Owen?
Yeah, I mean, Janine and Ellie's. seems to me like they think they're a good solid 3.
I think they might be threatened by him as this nervous player who's obviously also strategic
True.
and who's a fan of the game. I think
That's a good point.
it would be like a Michaela situation where Jay's just like, huh, maybe she should go before the merge. Especially
Yeah.
if Ellie and Janine think that they have all the power, which they really don't.
See, but nervous
And then
player
I
that
could see
doesn't seem
Sammy
too
latching onto
threatening.
that in an effort to protect Gabler because he wants Gabler as a number going into the merge. He could say, "Hey, why don't we just get rid of this person who's in the middle?" Because Sammy could talk about how Owen was there
Well, I think
both
Sammy would
times.
just say, yeah, vote for Gabler. Then he'll just play his idol. But then we'll get one of you guys out. I think
Yeah,
that's what Sammy would
true.
do.
That is true. Actually,
Yeah.
true.
But you say like the nervous thing. I don't think that points to in Janine's mind her thinking that Owen is really that much of a threat. I think that means, he's kind of a nervous player. We can kind of use him. We can kind of take him under our wing.
Oh,
You
that's
know.
how you took it. Interesting. Interesting. I can see that.
I mean, it's just
But just with all the talk from Coco today, it was kind of the same thing about like nervous players and you don't want to keep them around with Lindsay and then possibly Cassidy, even though
yeah,
Cassidy handled her situation perfectly tonight.
yeah. That definitely we were talking about it earlier. I definitely think that's just an editing thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, the thing that worries me about Owen is the fact that Ellie went right ahead on telling Sammy
Yeah.
about
See, that's what I was kind
the
of thinking.
idol.
Like, it seems like Ellie is pivoting towards Sammy a little
Yeah,
bit.
so is it a 3 between them and Owen, or are they taking Sammy, or do they? What I think it is Ellie just really thinks that Gabler is not playing it. She just thinks it's a 4v1. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
take it as. But it could be trouble for Owen if they decide, you know, Sammy's a better option for us. But then again,
Yeah,
you never know.
but now
Sammy
with the
might.
merge, they could say let's go with both. But I still think Sammy would flip on them. That's the thing.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I don't think Sammy would even go with them.
I think Sammy. It depends on the way that the dynamics shake up and the way that the teams, if they do the split for the next episode, if how that shakes out. But I think that Sammy could easily hook up with Noel, Dwight, Jesse, anyone from the Betsy tribe,
Definitely.
Cody. I think,
I could definitely see him getting along with Cody for
yeah,
sure.
exactly.
Just brown out, throwing coconuts on the beach.
Uh-huh.
I could see him doing
Even
that.
Ryan too. I think Sammy could be like, if he finds out about the atrocious move that Ryan made, he'd be like, hey, I mean, this guy's not a strategic threat, but he's someone who is around my age and
Yeah,
I can maybe bro down with a little bit. I'll just use him
and
and take
kind
it
of
to
a
the end.
shield. Kind of a shield.
Yeah,
He's a physical threat.
and I mean, Sammy could easily go to the end with Ryan and win. I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely, Ryan could end up being one of those meat shields that just gets
Mm-hmm.
distracted.
Yeah, I could see Ryan and Gabler being the season's goats.
Yeah, I see. I just don't know how long Gabler's gonna last out there. I mean, it seems like he's
But
like
I
withering
feel like
away.
people could just. I feel like okay, yeah. You mean like physically?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
true. I
mean,
didn't think about that.
he could almost like just ask people to vote him out eventually.
Yeah, because they did show in multiple episodes the fact that he was fatigued, and they had
Yep, it
multiple
was a
people
big point
commenting
of
on it.
emphasis.
Yeah,
Yep. Mhm.
that's interesting. What if we were heading towards a medevac? That would be crazy.
Yeah, we haven't had one of those in a while, right? We didn't. Wasn't one in
Well,
41 or 42, right? Well,
technically there
Jackson.
was, yeah, Jackson, but I don't really
Yeah,
count
that
that. That's
doesn't
a little
count.
bit different. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Other than
That's
that, the last one
interesting.
would have been what? Pat and Dave vs. Goliath?
Last one that I can remember for sure. I mean, I don't
Wow.
remember a lot from Exile Island or Island of the Idols. So, or I mean, Edge of
Edge of
Extinction.
Extinction.
Yeah, I always say that. I always say Exile Island instead of Edge of Extinction.
That's funny.
I mean, it's like you're on an island exiled, so.
Yeah, exile for way longer than you would be on Exile
Yeah.
Island.
It's just the E's that get me. The EOE and then Exile. Yeah. But anyway, so looking forward to next week. Who do we think's really in trouble here?
Really, I'm gonna say Janine. I'm gonna say that people are gonna try to target Ellie and Janine, and I think Ellie is the one that's gonna come out of it and have that sort of redemption arc going forward. I think Janine's people are gonna be like, she risked her vote for no reason. She has an
Yeah,
idol. Like, come on.
that could bite her definitely.
Yeah, especially with, I mean,
Like Sammy was saying, like what that's what kind of wacky game or something like that. What kind of game are we playing here? Like,
yeah,
it was
and
like, what are we doing?
now Janine has had Sammy commenting on her. Gabler obviously knows about what she's been up to, and he doesn't like her. And Owen has now seen her try to hide the advantage from him.
Yeah, we gonna
So
talk
he
about
has a reason to be sketched up by that. Yeah, dude, that was so awkward when
this
Owen
so
walked out. And Ellie's like, do you want to talk about
yeah,
it?
dude, exactly. Oh man, it's like literally Ellie's just like, okay, so we definitely shouldn't tell Owen, and you just see him walking up. That's so classic.
Yeah, I felt so bad for Ellie in that moment.
Yeah, that's definitely not what you want to happen when you find
just another thing going wrong for Ellie in Survivor right now.
You love a good underdog, though. Like you said, it could be the start of a really great Ellie underdog story.
Honestly, I would not be shocked at all about that. And I love Ellie too, so I'd be happy about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ryan though for my pick for who's in the most trouble. I mean, he's on the outs. He doesn't have anybody. He's, like I said, a big physical threat. So it seems like your classic merge boot to me.
Do you think that the Vessi tribe is going to stay united going into the merge? Because I think for sure Baka and Coco are splitting up. They have clear fractures there. But Vessi, I think they've kind of healed from their issues a little bit. And they had such good teamwork in today's challenge that just showed how they're obviously
it looks
really
like they're
cohesive unit right now.
I'm just not sure about Dwight and Noel. They seem to be. I mean, it's obviously you have two pairs though, and I'm not sure because we got a lot of the Jesse and Dwight early on. We haven't seen that really. We haven't seen.
Yeah, I'm wondering because I don't think we've heard from Dwight much at all recently. I'm wondering where Dwight stands on that tribe. Because obviously,
it just depends on what he thinks of him. I mean, I think he's with Noel for sure. I think Noel is working with him.
That's just out of necessity.
Jesse. Yeah, because she was on the outs, you mean?
Yeah, because she lost Justine. Because it was originally Justine and Noel, and then Cody and NECA and Jesse, and then Jesse and Dwight. But I wonder if Dwight trusts Jesse at all now. Because that could be a problem for Jesse moving forward.
It could, yeah. Because if, let's say, Jesse thinks that they're solid and Dwight doesn't see it that way, that could be really bad.
Yeah, because it was with the Justine vote, right? Where Dwight and Jesse were on completely different pages, and ultimately Dwight lost his vote, so Jesse just made the decision to go without him. They just kind of left Dwight.
And Dwight was mad. I don't really see how you can be mad when you lose your vote like that.
I would be thankful that I'm in the game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's why I still think that it's very possible for Vessi to be a cohesive unit right now, because I don't think Dwight would feel too scorned, but he could.
Yeah, he could. Definitely. And that's one of those editing things, you know, like outside of divorce papers, you know.
Yeah.
So you never know what's really going on out there, but they could stay together, they could split up, I don't know. But I know it's going to be an interesting week of Survivor, and I'm hyped for it.
Yeah, hyped for the fake merge. Hope nothing too terrible happens. Hopefully they've improved upon the twist after listening to the feedback they've gotten for the past 2 seasons. The feedback was pretty clear.
Yeah, I think the fans are, like I said, pretty clear on what they want. And I think they've been listening pretty well for the most part. So
Yeah.
we'll see how
I
it goes, if
mean,
they can keep the momentum going.
based on the way this season's been going so far, I think they've definitely been listening to the fans, and they've certainly found their rhythm as far as this new era of Survivor goes. 41 and 42 felt a lot more like messy, kind of hodgepodge of all these weird things going on. Now it's like they've got a nice story that they're telling from beginning to end, smoothly, cohesively. We're
Yep.
getting all the characters. We're getting satisfying blindsides that are actually explained. And yeah, I think it's shaping up to be a good season so far. So I'm really excited to see what we have with this fake merge coming up.
And I'll say it one more time. The table is set. The table is set for some good, exciting things to happen, and I'm ready for it. I think it's gonna be great. Great,
Yep.
exciting episode of Survivor, and I can't wait till next week. CBS. I'll be tuning in for sure.
So will I.
Um,
And I'll be talking about it with you afterwards.
yes, sir. Tanner, it was great. Great first recap, and looking forward to next week.
Yep. Really fun to have this podcast with you. Let's do it again next week. See you later.
To many more podcasts. See ya.